Y'all ever wonder why black folks love anime so much? What if I told you that there's a connection between West, North, East Africans, and East Asians? However, my focus will be primarily Japan today because we're talking about anime. Starting with the Japanese language, every word in Japan pretty much ends in a vowel. Niger-Congo languages follows the same rules as every word pretty much ends in a vowel. Did you know that Tokyo, the capital of Japan, used to be called Edo? Surprisingly, the capital of Nigeria is also called Edo. If we compare the Japanese language and the Yoruba language, a Niger-Congo language, we will find that there are many similarities between them, and not just similarities, but same word meanings. The same goes for the Igbo language. When I first heard this, I actually didn't believe it. I heard it by the great sage Credo Mutwa, a Zulu medicine doctor. He is famous for his stories, so he was invited to Japan to share at a convention some of the stories which he has successfully kept and passed down. And his wife had left the hotel to go order food, and the local people pretty much only spoke their native language. He asked her how was she able to successfully order food, and she said she just spoke to them in her language and they understood, and she understood them. I didn't believe it, but now I see why. His wife is not Japanese, by the way. She's an African woman. Now look at one of the early depictions of Buddha from around 700 AD in Thailand. You will see the negroid features that this statue has. It's very clear and evident. Now, if we compare architecture, we find no different. If you take a look at this pyramid found in Cambodia, it looks exactly like the pyramid of Zoser in Egypt, right? Or Kemet, right? I won't say exactly because, of course, they use different materials because of the environment, the climate around them. But the style is the exact same, pretty much. Now, before we get more into architecture, right, we find that the military leaders in Japan, they were called Shogun, right? It was a powerful title that they issued military leaders. We find that the blacksmith in the Yoruba tradition, who issues instruments or tools of war, right? His name is Ogun, right? Shogun Ogun. I thought to myself the other day when I learned all this about Izogi, because her name registered to me as a Japanese name, though it is an African name. We find that, again, Niger-Congo languages, they resemble Japanese languages to a T. The capital of Somalia is called Mogadishu, right? That sounds like a Japanese word. I watch anime enough to know. Songhai Empire, right? Sounds like a name or a word or a title that you would hear in China, right? This comes as no surprise to some because most of you guys know who the Aboriginal people of Asia was. But yet still, a lot of people rarely ever hear about them. The Jomon people, who are the natives of Japan, we find that they had these interesting clay figurines called Dogon clay figurines, right? And if we look at this particular clay figurine here, right, notice how its eyes has that slant and its head looks like a serpent head. We find these very same clay figurines in Iraq, right, amongst the Sumerians. Now, what's interesting is the Dogon of West Africa, like we have the Dogon clay figurines, right? They brought this culture and tradition of these half serpent, half human beings to Mesopotamia and to pretty much to the rest of the world. Okay, the Dogon people are remnants of the Egyptians or the Kemet, the people of Kemet. Now, if you look at this mound found in Japan, which they call a Kofun, right? Like coffin, Kofun. What is interesting is they buried their dead exactly like the people of Kemet buried their dead, right? And then you hear the name Kemet and you hear the Khmer people of Cambodia, right? And you see the connections. Look at how the people of Kemet buried their dead in the Kofun, right? In their pyramids, right? The only difference is the Japanese, they buried their dead, the ancients, in mounds, right? Just like we find in North America, right? And also in Europe.